I'm going to try not to be that loud, because I just, walked over to the neighbors because they were playing drums really loud, and I asked them not to do that. So if I'm sitting here yelling at my computer, it'd be hypocritical.
Yeah.
Hey, solve a debate I've been having with myself, and I've been asking our viewers, but no one comments. Do you think just the pops are fine, or should we have something under here?
I think we need a mural.
All right, no, tell me for serious. Should I put some posters or something?
Sure.
Yes or no? Just not. I don't want to sure. Be
no, don't.
Pungent.
Don't.
Be pointed.
Cogent.
Just be something that
direct. I like pop figures.
Okay, but nothing. We keep the pop figures, but anything in this area.
Oh, we need it.
Okay, so my name is Mark, and this is Billy.
Yo.
And this is his first time since I moved. And we are reviewing the movie The Big Sick. This movie came out a while ago, and a lot of people have been talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
We've been wanting to go see it.
Yeah.
I went to our tiny little indie movie theater, and, well, we went and fucking saw it. So let's do this.
All right, so do the thing where you like and you subscribe, and also check us out on Facebook and Twitter.
Yep. Billy's going to give you a tiny little non-spoilery synopsis,
mm-hmm.
and then I'm going, unless you want me to do it.
No, I got it.
And then we're going to discuss negatives first.
Negatives first.
Negatives first. And then we're going to say positives of this movie. And movie. My voice went up for no reason. And, okay.
And we'll give you a custom tailorized review where we give you a point 1 out of 10.
And the another one little last thing before we get going. These are completely non-scripted. We try to do these completely in one take.
I just spit slushy on myself.
Yeah, yeah, you did. So if you wondered why everything's kind of jumbled and improv, it's because we don't write anything down at all. This is 100%. We got 0 notes. If you see me looking down, I'm looking at my phone because I forget names.
I'm drinking a slushie because I like slushies.
Yep.
All right, so the plot. This is actually based on the real story of Kumail Nanjani, the main actor in the movie and self-titled character.
Yep. He actually...
It's the real story of him and how he met his wife, and the story of his wife. Okay, so what happens is Kumail Nanjani meets this girl, they start dating, they break up, and then she gets really sick, and she goes into a coma, and he basically has to deal with that with her parents, who he had never met. That's it. That's the plot.
Yep, that's the plot. Now, a little thing. Now, this isn't negatives yet. I'm just going to state, I knew less than that going in, because I saw the trailers, and for some reason, the trailers didn't involve the whole sick part. I thought it was more of the...
You might have seen an early trailer.
Yeah, it was a very early trailer. What I thought this movie was about was the other side of, like... I didn't realize it was going to touch on his family or anything, which is a huge plot point, too. And I didn't know about her getting sick. I thought it was just, like, the awkwardness of having, like, a Pakistani boyfriend and a predominantly white family. And because I've heard a lot of his interviews, and he talks about that in his act.
Yeah.
So that's what I thought it was. I was pleasantly surprised to find this movie. I'm going to state that right away. So if you've already heard way too much, I suggest you just get off of this and go watch the movie if you don't want any, because these aren't spoilers. We're not going to spoil. But this movie, I think, is best served cold. So if you do want to go see this movie and you want it completely served cold like I got and have the amazing experience that I actually had, just fucking leave. Click like on the way out.
But also, I did know all of the major plot points.
And you still enjoyed it?
I really enjoyed it.
Good. Now let's talk about this.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Okay, so negatives. I got a rather big one I'll save for second. Chemistry. So a big part of this movie is, as we already said, the relationship between Kumail and his girlfriend, played by Zoe Kazan. Her name's Emily. And a lot of it's really reliant on it, and I really didn't buy their chemistry.
I didn't either.
I bought the lines and everything else.
I bought their dialogue.
It was written correctly.
And they performed wonderfully.
Yeah, they performed fine, but some actors just don't fit, and it didn't have that spark.
Yep.
That Andrew Garfield, Emma Stone spark.
Yep.
Which was the only thing those shitty Spider-Man movies had was chemistry.
I disagree, but
because they were actually
saying.
But yeah, and that's That's not a huge thing, as we already said. It didn't take me out of that relationship completely because it was still, both of them performed them well and the lines were still great, but they're still, when it comes to something like a romance and you don't feel the romance, and I noticed it right away. That's one of my small ones. You take one.
There were some scenes in this movie that felt like it was an assignment from film school to learn how to use rack focus. Because there was a lot of scenes where it was like, oh, they used rack focus twice in that scene. Oh, they used it 3 times in that scene. Okay, they only used it once in that, but now it sticks out to me because it's the only scene where they used it once. Like, they used a lot of rack focus in really weird spots. There was a couple times where it was really, really effective, but for the most part, it was just way too much for them all to be effective.
Yep.
So, but this is... I mean, I don't want to sell it short. It is a paint-by-numbers romantic comedy in the sense that it doesn't call for any risky cinematography.
Yes. I'm going to get to that.
Yeah.
That's actually my big negative. I was going to say another one, but let's just jump right.
Yeah.
I don't know who the director of photography is, which is probably a good thing because I'm about to say something bad about it. But I do know who the director is, Michael Showalter. And if you know anything about Stella or Wet Hot American Summer, those 3 guys, Michael Ian Black, David... Wayne, and Michael Showalter, they're a really hilarious comedy group called Stella, and they rule. And they work together on a lot of stuff, including all the Wet Hot American Summer stuff. I was excited. Ask him. I was excited going in because I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen Michael Showalter direct, and I love him in all the comedic stuff. It's paint by numbers directing, and is that a bad thing? No. But if you're wondering why I'm not giving it a 10 out of 10, even though I enjoyed it a lot, it's because it was a paint-by-numbers directing.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing, but it's also not a good thing.
It's not a good thing. If we were watching CSI, okay, cool, I want paint-by-numbers.
Yeah.
But if you want to wow me on all cylinders, fire on all cylinders. Yeah. The thing that separates something like this to the Oscar contenders that we'll be seeing later in the year, it wasn't the acting, because this is pretty good acting. It wasn't even the writing, because this is pretty good writing. It's the direction. Yeah. And that's really, if you gave me some, not even, I don't want to track, I love tracking shots, but I don't need 5 amazing tracking shots. This doesn't need to be Alejandro just pounding in the cinematography. But give me something artistic. Yeah. Something artistic. Anything bad against Michael Showalter, I'm sorry, you probably weren't going for that. You're probably like, yeah, would it take it away? You're probably right. You're smarter than I am, but I noticed that.
One thing I want to talk about is shitty blocking. There's a lot of really awkwardly blocked shots where, like, for instance, the one I'm thinking of specifically, there was a shot where Kumail was sitting backstage on his phone texting, like, behind the stage, while, it's like a divided shot where the stand-up comic is up here in the background, and then Kumail's down here, and he was, like, cramped. There was no headroom for him. And it's an odd shot. It was a very uncomfortable shot.
It's an odd shot. Also, sound editing. Would it be sound editing? You already know what I'm going to say.
It'd be sound editing.
Okay. You guys know how there's a lot over the shoulder shots, especially since we just said it's paint by numbers, but lots over the shoulder shots. And you know how like they shoot something over the shoulder and you can still see somebody's mouth moving, like da, 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 da. They do that a lot, but they don't sync them up in any way. So somebody will be saying something and the mouth. Oh, no, your phone. But the mouth is just flapping. And you see that a lot, again, in, like, CSI TV shows. And that doesn't take it out. But if you notice it once in a movie like this, it takes me out. I noticed it, like, 4 times. Yeah. And I'm sorry, again, I'm holding this movie to a really high standard.
Yeah, we are being very nitpicky.
We're being super nitpicky because I kind of felt like I had to, because as soon as we get to the positives, I'm going to change my tone a lot. But I'm being super nitpicky because once you get to that high standards of like, wow, is this going to be a 9? Is this going to be a 10? And then you're like, no, like you have to make it earn that 9. So you got to nitpick. And that's it. Sound editing, sound design, some directions, paint by numbers. These aren't giant negatives.
The shitty like slappy bag characters in this movie I didn't like.
I like some of them, and I'm going to get to...
There's Big C Chris, I think was his name.
Is that the
one that everybody shit on? Yeah.
I actually liked it.
Well, no, I didn't like the disses because they were all literally like, Oh, you're not funny, quit comedy.
Yeah,
oh,
no. The disses I
they
could.
Were weak.
It was the actual character I enjoyed, and I'm going to get into that.
Yeah, I didn't.
Then let's talk about
the disses.
some of the supporting cast, specifically Bo Burnham and the other
Edie Bryant.
Edie Bryant.
Edie Bryant.
Her
costumes were awful.
Yeah, I honestly
feel really bad if those are her real clothes.
I honestly have nothing against Bo Burnham, and I've never really listened to him too much, and everything I have, I'm like, yeah, and I know, and a lot of people do, and I'm pretty sure, I just feel like I'm late to the party now, and I don't want to be like, hey, have you guys heard that Bo Burnham song from 10 years ago? I don't want to be that guy, so I don't get into it now. He's funnier in normal life than this movie. This movie does not do him and maybe even her credit. I mean, I don't really know her stuff, but those characters were just so like, I guess again you have higher expectations. It was Bo Burnham.
It was very obviously like, here's the comic relief.
Yeah. Oh, I'm a comic relief. Oh, and I'm this kind of a comic. I say fucking shit. You're a fucking shit.
It was a lot like the comic relief in Get Out.
Yeah, but I liked the comic relief and Get Out more than him. I liked it more than.
I think he was actually a TSA agent, but that's besides the point. They just found a TSA agent that was kind of funny.
TSA. Motherfucking A. I love that shit.
Anyway,
I love Get Out.
But I was also talking about the shitty like sideline characters. There's also the random racist in the bar. Okay, no racist is just gonna come out and say, "Oh, it's because he's brown." They're gonna be like, well, it's because their culture is inferior and they're gonna fucking blow us all up because they're terrorists. Like, I thought that was a little bit too on the nose.
Yeah, I'm not saying that we're not saying that racist people don't exist. They definitely don't exist, and we're also not saying that they don't heckle, because he's actually also famously been heckled.
Yeah.
And he says that he's one of the only comedians who has anti-terrorist lines.
Right.
But this guy was also, the way they were doing
it in Chicago in a comedy club,
a super liberal area. Yeah. And
like, no way he would just be that upfront about it.
Yeah, so there's a scene where he gets heckled by a racist, but is that scene bad though? No, but it's because Holly Hunter saves that scene in such a glorious way, and it's actually one of my favorite scenes. But yeah, you're right, maybe they should have came up with something better than like, you're a terrorist, go back to ISIS. That's not even an area.
Well, yeah, why did they say that, though? I wanted them to be like, that's not a country.
That's not ISIS, because that would have actually been a good joke. Okay, we spent way too long talking about the negatives. That's 12 minutes.
That's too positive.
I feel like
Holly Hunter.
Yeah, Holly Hunter's amazing.
Yes.
See that? I like the immediately tonal change. Positives, here we go.
Yeah.
Wow, Holly Hunter.
Holly Hunter.
Is she as good as she's always been?
Yes.
Yeah, she's fucking funny. She still scenes from actual stand-up comedians constantly in this.
I love her body language.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
She's always fidgeting.
She's just like...
Yeah. Right.
Or she just walks by... Yeah, she walks by Kumail and just randomly just, like, rubs her hand on his face.
I think that was improvised. Yeah,
and he was even like, what the fuck? What just happened? She's so
Zoe
good.
Kazan is a positive for me, which you probably never hear me say. I think she's a beautiful young woman, but she is usually terrible, and she was so good in this.
She's in the middle of the road for me.
I thought she was really good. I was very impressed.
I was going to kind of blame some of the chemistry thing on her.
I believed her a lot.
I'm not saying she's a negative. That's why I didn't bring her up in the negatives, but she was in a positive for me. But she is for you. Nice. Go. Well, let's keep going. Ray Romano didn't play a Ray Romano type. Yeah. Actually acted, and I've seen him act before.
And he was also the straight man.
He was a straight man, but not only that, now this movie does unfunny characters funnier than I have seen ever. The unfunny characters steal scenes with their bad jokes, and especially him, not even the like joke he tells, which was kind of funny, but his like manner and cadence. And he just, like, tries to make dad jokes, and he fails at dad jokes, and he's a riot. Honestly, again, if this came out later in the year and it had better direction, I'm sorry to keep throwing him under the bus, but I think people would be like, Ray Romano, best supporting. He could have, at least one idiot on the internet would have been saying that if this movie was a little better.
Is this the first theatrical release for Amazon Studios?
Maybe. Is this Amazon Studios?
Yeah,
Maybe.
they had the big marquee at the beginning.
Oh yeah, good job, Amazon Studios.
Yeah.
It might have been,
And
but yeah.
probably
So
just
that's one performance. Let's talk about the guy, the main guy,
Kumail.
What do you think?
I was really impressed with his performance.
He's really good. And so I watched Silicon Valley, and he plays Dinesh in Silicon Valley, and almost 100% different character.
Yeah.
The accent's the same though. Pfft. No, I'm kidding. But he's like a complete super snobby, super sarcastic douchebag constantly in Silicon Valley, and you got a little bit of sarcasm's kind of his shtick.
Yeah.
But in his dramatic scenes in this does not seem like his first dramatic, and he doesn't. This seems like an actual trained actor playing a stand-up, and not a stand-up playing a stand-up. Yeah. Honestly. This is really. He's really good.
I wanted to see his meltdown get to a 10, but he only got to like a 6.
Yeah, 6 or 7, 6.5.
His dialogue was at a 10, and he was at like a 6.
And another thing, I'm going to go with the pacing of this. This movie's plot with the dialogue drives kind of like a freight train for a lot of it. I really felt like it just moves, and a lot of. Like, with a movie that's like this, and I'm going to get with the time, but with a movie like this where there isn't any action, you're not going to get a giant reveal or anything, where it's a very humanized movie, you're looking at 90 minutes, usually. This is 2 hours, and did it feel like 2 hours? A little bit, but it really jammed so much world so well in those 2 hours that these characters were some of the roundest characters I've seen in a long time. So that just goes with the writing, is what I'm saying. This is one of the best scripts I've seen in a long time.
We were talking during the movie about how long the first act was.
And it wasn't a negative.
No, the proportions of this movie are very odd, but it wasn't a negative.
It's set up right.
It didn't feel slow at the beginning. The first act didn't feel slow. We literally just felt like we were getting to know the characters.
We didn't.
And
we wanted the turn into the second act, which, by the way, hit like a bat to the face. This turn, I was like,
the metaphors right now.
I love
like
metaphors.
A freight train,
like a freight train, bat to the face, like herpes. I'll use that later. But no, it moves. The dialogue moves so well, and it's so potent. But yeah, me and him were like. It wasn't. Yeah, it was because I was going somewhere. But yeah, it's because the turn we noticed it didn't go right into the second act yet. But it wasn't like, well, it's taking forever. Get to the point. And then as soon as it does, as soon as it's like, this is where the movie has been going. I was like, because again, I haven't seen the trailers. Yeah. So as soon as she started getting sick, I was like, fuck.
And that happened so fast.
This is where honestly, it's like. Coma. And you're like,
There's a bit, though, that they do where they foreshadow her getting sick, and then he references a possibility of how she would have gotten sick, and he references that foreshadowing, and then at the end, like, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but it comes back.
Yeah.
And I thought that was kind of cheesy.
It was a little on the cheesy side.
If that's really what happened, I still think it should have been left out of the movie.
Yeah, or I think it could have been foreshadowed at the beginning, but he just doesn't speak it.
Right.
Or, yeah, that could have been good. Also, I don't know. I kind of wish the ending went a different way. I already said that, but I'm not going to state it out loud. And I think I had one more. Dialogue, back to dialogue. I got one more thing about dialogue. You know the old, you're smarter than me, so you could probably tell me where this line came from, but you only put a knife in the first act if you're planning on stabbing somebody with it in the second act.
I have never heard that phrase.
You've never heard that phrase before?
That's really cool.
Yeah, so, you guys know what I'm talking about, how you never introduce something unless it's going to be used, and that type of dialogue kills me. I hate it. It's like, hey, when's your uncle coming to town? Oh, no, even better yet, like, hey, did you hear about those guys who escaped from the prison? No, third act, guys. Why don't we just say there's a prison escape and not bring in, because guess what? There's prison escapes, and not everybody runs into ex-cons. This is try to be a little more world, and that kind of, like, Tarantino does that the best, where he introduces 1,000 knives, and you get hit by a car.
Yeah.
That's Tarantino writing. And I'm not saying that this was Tarantino writing, but there's so many pointless, but just for character development scenes, in jokes, in moments that don't being brought up, and they don't have giant things. You know, they're not knives to be used. They're just actual things people say.
Yeah.
And I loved it, and that's probably what made these characters feel so real, because it wasn't just giving us stuff to use. It was actually just letting us meet the characters.
Right.
I'm going on for so long. Go see this movie.
I just want to bring up one more thing. I learned a lot about Pakistani culture tonight.
Yeah, sweet. Go back to Pakistani culture.
Yeah.
Definitely go check this movie out. Bring your lady. Mine had to go to work. My wife did. But honestly, you guys will really like this movie. It's definitely a treat. It's a hell of a treat.
Yeah.
Go.
I gave this movie 7.5 out of 10 arranged marriage suitors, like betrothal offerings.
Am I gonna burp?
There
I
it
did
was.
burp. Okay, cool. I just had to check. I gave this 7 out of 10 glasses of wine, because a lot of people drink wine in this movie.
To mask their alcoholism.
Yes. And also they do it really snobby. Oh, the fruit is to the front.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
It's very fruit forward.
Yeah, fruit forward. There you go. But anyways, 7 out of 10. I wish I could have got it more, but it was the direction. This is a strong 7 out of 10. The reasons that knock this from 10 to 7, most human beings won't notice. So definitely go check it out. You guys will like this movie. If we do a top 5 or 10, this might be on my list, even though it rated so low, because I'm planning on buying it. Alright, 21-minute review. Got anything else to say?
No.
What's your favorite Rick Sanchez catchphrase?
Oh shit.
I'll say mine. Lick, lick, lick my
Get
balls!
swifty.
Bye.
Yeah. Get swifty. Take off your pants.